And here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Recruiting Ain't Easy podcast. I'm your host, Louis Swartz, here on Team Swartz. And if you're looking to join the United States Army overall or get ready for the Army basic training, I got you. My mission here on Team Swartz is to help you navigate the joining process for the United States Army so that you can make a well-informed decision on whether or not it would be a good fit for you, for your reasons, and your reasons alone. And to prepare yourselves for both mentally and physically for Army basic training, understanding what to expect and some insights to help you navigate some of the possible concerns that you and your family may have. However, quick little disclaimer. By day, yes, I am a full-time, as a job, a New York Army National Guard recruiter and a part-time drill sergeant, conveniently located in New York City, Midtown Manhattan. But on my free time, I create videos around the enlistment process and Army basic training. I represent myself, Louis, and this is my personal page. Anything expressed here and within my videos are based on that of my own experiences, opinions, views, insights, or that of others, which means that this is not supported, endorsed, or sponsored by DOD, meaning the Department of Defense, the United States Army, the Army National Guard, the New York Army National Guard, or any other government entity for that matter. If this is your first time in, welcome. Consider subscribing, hitting that bell icon, and turning on all notifications so you don't miss anything when I go live or when I post new videos. So comment in the chat box which state you're tuning in from, and thank you for checking this out. For my loyal Team Swartz squad members, you already know what to do. Drop that hashtag Team Swartz down below. For you new folks tuning in, please refrain from repeating your questions or comments because I do not, and I will not skip any questions or comments on purpose unless you're being disrespectful. I am human, may have a human error, may skip it by accident, but either way, let me know, but don't repeat it like multiple times, okay? And with that being said, just so you're aware, I go down the comments, working my way from the oldest comments to the newest and the latest comments. The only exception, however, is to this rule is to receive a paid super chat or a tip. After finalizing my response to the current comment, I will highlight said super chat and immediately respond to them. Then return to where I last left off. Furthermore, keeping the comments clean and respectful or you will be set to timeout like a little child or even blocked. I don't care, all right? This is a friendly zone only, okay? Nothing but positive vibes. All right, so with that being said, with separate conversations going on within the chat box, do me a huge favor and begin the comment with a Q, hint, hint, stomp, stomp. So that will signal to me that your comment is directed towards me. All right. This helps speed up the process and to help me help you help out as many people as possible. So I thank you for that. And with that said, let's get ready or let's get started. Let me open up my, actually, you know what? Let me turn on the music. Hope everyone is doing well. Stay blessed. Every day is a good day when you wake up. You know what I'm saying? So set the vibe with some music. I just realized I didn't even do no intro music. Oh, well, you win some and you lose some, but that was a pretty smooth intro. Would you agree? All right. So with that being said, yeah, all right, good. I am live. All right. I had to double check there for a second. Hashtag I'm just saying. All right. Let me see if I can see the comments here on the stream. I guess not on full screen. All right. So let me go back to this other screen and do it old school. All right, starting the evening with the very first comment coming in from Luis Rodriguez. All right, with the hashtag Team Swartz. Appreciate you, buddy, as always. He says, hope all is well, dropping in the show so far, and as always, question, is 95 Foxtrot, it's actually 91 Foxtrot if you're referring to exactly what you're asking, which is small arms artillery repair, available in the New York Army National Guard? If so, what do you know about this MOS? I know they fix everything from small arms, which is a 9mm pistol, all the way up to a large howitzer, which is a field artillery cannon that you tow in the back of a vehicle. And everything in between the machine guns, the rifles, all that stuff, right? Put it in simple civilian terms. But good question, and yes, we do have those located in Staten Island here in New York City, and maybe here and there, onesies and twosies throughout the city, if not further upstate. But good question. All right, so we got Riley Simmons with the hashtag Team Swartz. Appreciate you as always. Passed the ASVAB today with a 70. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Congratulations. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so Luis Rodriguez, working out. We'll definitely see you soon. Sounds good, man. Also, another question. Can I make an appointment to retake the TAPEST test? I want to get a better score. I'll have to look into that. What is the rhyme or the reason for you wanting to increase your TAPEST score? I'm just curious. Let me know in the chat box. All right, I'm gonna try to pay attention to my phone up there. With that being said, moving right along to Brandini Karosaki, something like that. My apologies. With the hashtag Team Swortz, as always. Thank you for giving us the best damn information for those who are interested in joining the United States Armed Forces. Thank you and everyone here for your service. Wow, Brand, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you for the support, as always. And it's probably a good time for me to say, hit that like button, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna move a little bit closer to the teleprompter so I can read these texts a little better. My eyes aren't the best anymore. You know what I'm saying? Getting old. You're getting old. That's like I'm just saying. All right, so we got Nelson with the Team Swartz shipping out next Tuesday to Fort Sill for basic. Any tips? Yes. Keep your head down. Do what you're told. Stay out of trouble. Do not get into any physical or verbal confrontations. Listen to your drill sergeants. Attention to detail and teamwork. Teamwork is the key. Are the two hallmark ideas that you should follow all throughout your training. All right. Always help out your battle buddies. Attention to detail. And if you don't know what's going on, ask your battle buddies to your left and to your right, because you're all going to be doing the same exact thing. Be on time, which is 15 minutes early. If you're on time, you're simply late. And if you're late, be prepared to get stronger. All right. It's that freaking easy. Okay. And take it day by day. If you're one of those who get homesick, just survive the day. And if it's that bad, make it to the next meal, make it to the next meal. But in theory, if you just stay focused in the now, the task in front of you, you will be fine. Trust me. Basic training is really not that difficult. Yes. If you're going from the couch to basic training and you're not superbly in shape, it's perfectly fine. All right. You could go there from the couch, being a couch potato, to basic training and be physically capable of completing basic training. All right. It is designed for you to pass. As long as you give an F, you're going to do just fine and you're going to graduate. Okay. The other mental aspect of it, if you're more of the younger generation of, like, let's say 17 to maybe 24-ish, if this is your first time away and all that good jazz, then you might struggle with homesickness, maybe dealing with authority. Maybe you're not going to be too excited to have somebody screaming in your face, treating you like a child, basically. Some people don't like the way I share it like this, but it's kind of like living a prison sentence, but you get paid with benefits and you're learning something and you get to go home in the end, right? But with that being said, yeah, those are pretty much it in a nutshell. But good question. All right, so we got Chris Crutherd says, question, I'm going in as a specialist E4, 88 Mike, motor transport, 88M is the MOS, okay? Motor transport is the actual title with my CDL, okay? What's the fastest way to warrant officer is what you're asking. So unlike OCS, Officer Candidate School, to become a commissioned officer, warrant officers are a little bit different. The only thing that's similar to OCS is that you must have a GT line score of a 110 or better. Okay, you must be a U.S. citizen and qualify for a secret clearance. All right, which means that you pretty much can't have any type of major law violations. Something minor, maybe you might be able to get a waiver, but pretty much be squeaky clean and have a good credit. Not a good credit score. Don't get it twisted, because you could just be brand new to credit and not have a good score because you don't have credit history. When we say credit, we mean like late payments, charge-offs, collections, bankruptcy, those types of situations, okay? So just keep that in mind. Furthermore, depending on the MOS in which you're trying to become a warrant officer in, it's got to be a feeder MOS, meaning there's multiple things. So let's say you are a 91 Bravo, right, which is a mechanic. light wheel vehicle mechanic to be specific, and you want to become a warrant officer in that field, right? So you're going to essentially go to every single maintenance school possible after you can consider or complete WOCS, Warrant Officer Candidate School Program. So once you commission as a Warrant Officer 1, then you will go through all these schools, and you're going to become essentially, in layman's terms, a subject matter expert and an advisor to your company commander. That's pretty much your primary role. And with that being said, not sure if 88 Mike is on that. It's a possibility, but you would have to talk to the warrant officer recruiter, because that is a specialty officer route for people, okay? I can only intelligently talk about general OCS, like basic OCS. Once you get into like medical, which is AMED, AMEDD, or say JAG, which is military law, or chaplain, right? These are all specialized officer candidates that are requesting to do something specialized within the Army, okay? So going back to warrant officer, all right, you're a technical advisor. And unlike OCS that has like a set standard for everything, right? It comes to MOS to whether or not you need a certain level of NCOES, right? Meaning like to become a non-commissioned officer, there are different levels of leadership schools that you must complete. In warrant officer, one could have, you need the basic leadership course completed, or ACS or Army leadership course, ALC, right? Or even SLC, senior leadership course. It really depends on the MOS. And you might not need a specific degree, but you might need specific classes or credits from an accredited college. So your warrant officer recruiter will tell you the other requirements to qualify for it. So hopefully that addresses your question. All right, but good question. I've never been asked about 88 Mike and then going to warrant officer, but yeah. We got Christ Lives with the hashtag Team SWARTZ. Same thing coming in from Senator Charmant or Charm Song. Appreciate you. We got Darian Holland says, question, I had a gastric sleeve weight loss surgery like 8 years ago. Would that disqualify me at MEPS? I don't want to waste my time and go. Well, if you meet this criteria, uno momento, por favor. Gastric B. All right. Coming into the chat box, hot and heavy, and it pretty much says that for gastric bypass surgery, all right, the only one that they'll accept is the laparoscopic sleeve surgery, which is the only one that's waiverable. If you have the other one where you have a band in the stomach, no waiver authorized, unfortunately. So if you just have that surgery, then you're good. All right. The other one, no waiver authorized. So depending on your situation, that is the wrong deal. So yes, you will be disqualified and you will need a medical waiver. And I'll put it into the chat box here. It's also linked down below, convenient for you to go check out after the live stream. But that's my medical waiver guide and best tips and insights throughout the Army medical waiver process. All right, that is going to be probably by far the most informative, up-to-date, best resource for you and for anybody else who needs a medical waiver. Definitely go check it out. I specifically addressed towards the later part of the video on asthma, ADD, ADHD, depression, asthma, to name just a few, but definitely go check it out. It will give you a good overview so that you can make a well-informed decision and otherwise be knowledgeable of the process so that you're not going in blind and all that good stuff, right? You'll just be informed, okay? Appreciate you. And good luck, and may the MEPS gods forever be in your favor. All right, so we got unmuted, or unlimited rather. Unlimited. Stay blessed, boss. You stay blessed. How about that? Amen. All right, so we got Sandra Silos with the hashtag Team SWARTZ tuning in from Texas. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome to the stream, Sandra. Appreciate you. We got Eli Seen Visions says, is dealing with high blood pressure when I was young a big deal breaker that could disqualify me from the Army? All right, I'll put it to you this way so that way you guys don't have to keep saying that statement. if you are otherwise healthy and you only do annual evaluations, just a general medical checkup, and you never have issues, then you are golden. Like, you are the unicorn of for a recruiter, right? That means that there's nothing medically wrong with you. Anytime that you have anything that deviates from just being healthy and never seeing that, never going to the emergency room, this, that, whatever, anything that deals with like surgeries, mental health, behavioral health, pain management, things of that nature, and asthma and major allergies, and the big two, AIDS and HIV and all that good stuff, right? Those things are going to disqualify you, and some of these things may be waiverable, okay? And your recruiter, for the most part, if they're experienced, should know what we can apply a waiver for. Some things like AIDS or HIV, even if you had just recently signed a contract and they get the blood work back a few days later, they will call you back into MEPS and the doctor will, share it with you. It's only happened to myself and my teammates maybe 3 or 4 times in the last almost 20 years of my recruiting experience. And those that you don't know, this July will be 20 years in just recruiting alone, and about 24 years of service next month, okay, in like a week and a half. So got a lot of knowledge to share with you. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and all that good stuff. And to address your question, if you had blood pressure in the past, yes, you will need a medical waiver. And as long as your blood pressure readings are fine at MEPS, you should be fine. You might not need a waiver if it's probably been like 5 years or longer, or at the very minimum over 3 years ago. The only thing that MEPS might do, if you pass it, they shouldn't require this, but if you fail blood pressure at MEPS, then you'll need, and this is always forever changing, so don't quote me on this, but in general, 2 to 3 days of blood pressure readings at least 2 to 3 times a day, whatever the guidance is at the time that you get disqualified. You get good readings for those few days and you submit that, then a medical waiver can be approved, as long as, again, those blood pressure readings are good. Some of y'all have a white coat syndrome, where if a doctor's in front of you, you're just super duper nervous, and it's perfectly normal for that to happen. Unfortunately, if you get caught in this situation, it is going to warrant a medical waiver. So just keep that in the back of your mind. All right. But good luck to you. Again, may the MEPS gods forever be in your favor. All right. So we got Riley Simmons with the question. Speaking of the TAPEST test, how important is that? Was it just a personality test, or is there more to it? Good question, Riley. And for those of you that don't know, if you have a high school diploma or any amount of college credits, kind of hard to explain this because there's like so many different variations of this, but if you have a high school diploma, you don't need to worry about the TAPEST. It's just a requirement to check the box that you took it. All right. The only time that it matters is if you have a GED with no college credits. Then it matters. The will do, so you get evaluated on 4 different ways. In the WD, the will do, you need to score 100 or better to be able to continue the process. Okay. And well, I think that's just for the 09 mic program, not just for GED must have that. Furthermore, for any other programs like the 09 mic Future Soldier Preparatory Course, the CAT 4 for some reason, but yeah, you need to have WD. All right, 100 or better. That's when it matters. All right. But if you don't understand, I'll re-engage that. But yeah, that's basically pretty much it. And Senator Sharmshong, I am very good. Thank you for asking. A little tired, not gonna lie. I've been up since 3:30 this morning to take care of my applicant who signed the contract today. Hua freaking Luya. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's congratulate Private Diak to the New York Army National Guard. Cool. All right, so we got a super chat coming in from Darian Holland. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It means a lot to me. I do reinvest it into equipment, kind of like my latest and greatest teleprompter from Elgato. I think it's called Prompter, but this thing's amazing. I freaking love it. And I can just stare at the camera, and it's perfect because it's like intimate. It's almost like I'm really looking into your eyes, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know if that creeps you out or not, but I feel like we connect more. Well, you guys connect to me more, I guess, because I can't see you. I just see a bunch of text on the screen. I have the chat box literally right in the center of the screen where the lens to my camera is. But with that being said, again, I appreciate you. So question is, how does officer branch selective work for the Army Reserve? I live in Nevada and I want cyber and it's not here. I just can't select that branch. All right, so real quick, kind of like when you go active duty, meaning regular Army in this example, because I'm in the Army, right? Full-time Army, basically. Unless you're specifically enlisting or contracting into the specific program where you get duty station of choice and you meet their very strict criteria, outside of that, you don't know where you're going to be stationed, and you get a form basically called a wish list. Or dream sheet is what they specifically call it. And what that means is you're going to pick 3 to 5 locations within the United States called CONUS, C-O-N-U-S, and then OCONUS for 3 to 5 locations overseas that you would like to be stationed, right? That's called OCONUS, right? Overseas, so on and so forth. Yeah. So that's how it works. And you're going to find out midway of your AIT, Advanced Individual Training, if your training is long enough. If your training is super short, it might be later on, closer to like within a couple weeks before you graduate, in super rare occasions after you graduate. But with that being said, yeah. So when it comes to officers, it's very, very similar. And it doesn't matter if you're guard, reserve, or even active duty, my friend. All right. Once you get towards the end of the first phase of OCS, you're going to get like a dream sheet or a wish list of branches that you can branch into or commission as a lieutenant into. In your case, you're going to put your top choice as being cyber, and then you have to choose other ones. I would put signal support as your second one, and maybe pick a tertiary or a third option of something else. But you're going to list all 10, with cyber being your top choice, working your way down there. Now, if you graduate in the top 10% of your class, then typically they do what they can to get you what you want. If you're outside of the top 10%, then it's based on the needs. I mean, it's always going to be based on the needs of the Army. But again, if you're in the top 10%, they'll work with you. Not so much, less probability of getting what you want. Now, if you happen to have a degree in cyber or experience and certificates already under your belt, they may factor that into their decision-making process and weighing out the options of how you or where you commission, all right, to which branch, all right? So those of you who don't know what he's talking about, Riley could be a female, so yeah. Not really sure if it's male or female, but Riley. Yeah, so OCS is Officer Candidate School. Those are your lieutenants and higher, all right? Warrant officers are warrant officers 1 through 5. And non-commissioned officers are someone like me as a sergeant all the way through sergeant major. I forgot where I was going with this. I'm having a bald moment. Equivalent to a blonde moment. But with that being said, I forgot where I was going with that, actually. And you also said, oh no, that was Darian, not Riley. But yeah, that's pretty much how it works. So good luck to you. And again, thank you for the super chat. Alrighty, moving back up to where I was, which was Sandra Silos with the hashtag Team Swortz. First, thank you for your service here from Texas. I appreciate you appreciating me. Thank you for tuning in. All right, Eric, not old, well-aged, like a nice steak. That's what I'm talking about. As long as it doesn't have germs, worms, or whatever you want to call it. All right, so we got Tyler. All right, question: how common is it to get injured at basic if I work out 5 to 6 times a week? All right, Tyler, you're probably going to be more than fine, all right, unless something crazy happens. But the biggest injury that most people would experience at basic training is their bone density isn't as dense, right? Because this generation today is more tech savvy and they spend less time outdoors, less physical activity. So the bone density is not where it probably should be. So people will experience stress fractures in the shins and in the hips, and they're called stress fractures. If they're bad enough, understand that you can and will be discharged if the doctor deems necessary. All right. So when you're going through basic training, you have to ask yourself, am I hurt or am I injured? And there's a big difference, because you have to understand that if you seek medical attention, you're giving the rights to the Army to evaluate you and decide upon what's best for the Army. Not for you, but for the Army. Meaning that you have to ask yourself, am I hurt or am I injured? Hurt means like it's normal, like muscle soreness, right? Because especially if you haven't worked out, or even if you have worked out, this is a different style of workout, so you might feel sore. So those of you that have never worked out in a day in your life, you're gonna feel parts of your body be sore and in pain that you never knew existed, or that you ever actually used those muscles. It's gonna hurt to cough, sneeze, and laugh. No joke. If you know, you know. But with that being said, if you feel like you're not hurt and you feel like you are legitimately injured, then definitely seek medical attention. But keep in the back of your mind that if you go on sick call because you notified the drill sergeant that there's something medically wrong with you and you want to be checked out by a medical professional, you're taking the risk of being discharged. So just heed this warning. I'll tell you a really, really quick story. There I am, Private Swartz, 2001, in basic training. We did this, we got smoked. Like, the Army back then was a lot different to compared to now when it comes to corrective training, tactics, and abilities. So with that being said, we got smoked for a good hour and change, and our drill sergeant made us push the bunk beds to the wall, and we had to circle, like do a lap, like NASCAR, round and around and around for over an hour, doing what he called the dead man walking, which is basically, let's say you're numb from the waist down, like you can't use your knees, your legs, or anything. You're just like a walrus walking around on their front feet, right? Or flippers, or whatever you want to call them. And you either waddle around for over an hour. Anyway, this guy got stress fractures in the hip, didn't feel good, went to the sick call. Guess what? Despite of him literally being in the 10-yard line of graduating Army basic training, they ultimately medically chaptered him out of the Army to heal and re-engage and apply with a medical and administrative waiver when looking to come back into the military. They literally discharged him. And you know what he said? I really didn't, it wasn't really that bad, but they, they had to make that choice because he went to sick call. They had to do what's best for the Army, right? Again, it's always based on the needs of the United States Army. So just understand that, heed that warning, all right? Good question. All right, so we got Eli Seen Vision says, should I jog a long time to prepare for future soldier preparatory course training? Last time I went, last time they jogged for 50 minutes. I want to run faster. All right, cool. So you might want to check out and peep this video real quick, but let me put it in the chat box here. It's also linked down below for you to check out later if you'd like. But my advice to decreasing your runtime is choosing 1, maybe 2 days a week where you work on speed, or not speed, but high intensity interval training, meaning you find a slight incline of a hill that you can sprint up for 30 seconds, walk down to the bottom, and repeat that 10 times. Just make sure that you are properly warming up, doing a dynamic warm-up or the Army preparation drills to include military movement drills 1 and 2. You can look those up, but at the very least, warm up properly. Go out for a jog for like a half mile, maybe a mile, okay? Do some dynamic stretching. You can find tons of videos on YouTube on that. And then knock out 10 wind sprints, 30 seconds, all out, 80 to 100% effort, with the first 1 or 2 that don't count as part of the 10 as a warm-up. So like go like 50 to 60% of max effort the first one, 60 to 70% on the second one, and then from that point forward, 10 wind sprints at 80 to 100% max effort. This right here, this high intensity interval training, called or referred to as HIIT, H-I-I-T, is the key to decreasing your runtime, right? Running for a long time, yes, that is helpful, but you need to challenge yourself more so with the short spurts of max effort. And again, this is the key. the best way to decrease your runtime. Okay. And check out that video for the rest of my running tips workout program that I offer you for free in the description area. All right. Definitely go check that out. All right. So we got John Edwards says, how long would it take to get my gun license after I pass Army basic training? All right, John Edward, that is a civilian pistol permit or rifle, whatever, small arms as a civilian. Has nothing to do with the Army. So as long as you are in accordance with the local, state, and federal laws to apply and obtain firearms legally, if you're on active duty and you live on base, you're going to have to follow your unit's SOP, standard operating procedures. Typically, that means that your pistol and everything is going to be stored in the arms room. The issue you're going to have is that every time you want to use it, which is typically on the weekends, you're going to have to plan, coordinate, and hope and pray that the armorer or the supply sergeant who's in charge of the arms room is willing to meet you to basically issue your assigned personal owned weapon to use. But if you live off post, let's say you're married, you have dependents, you got an apartment or a house off post, then you can, as long as they're legal, you can store them in your house. Just don't bring them on base. That is going to be considered a felony offense and you will be arrested. So just make sure you follow the proper protocols, and you can speak to your unit leadership at that time when that time comes so that you can be in the know. All right. Just because you didn't know doesn't mean that you did not break the law, whether it's military law or civilian law. And just for those who are unaware, in the civilian world, you are innocent until proven guilty. In the military, however, you are guilty until proven innocent. A civilian lawyer is on your side. A military lawyer, even if it's a JAG defender, is not on your side. They are there to process you legally and judicially, basically getting down to the facts of the matter. So, yeah, heed that warning. Okay? So, with that being said, good question, and hopefully it helped. Casey Miller with the hashtag Team Swartz. Do you think it is possible to get granted a secret clearance with a DWI conviction, Class B misdemeanor? No, I do not believe that for initial enlistment that they are going to approve that. In my experience, it's always been a hard pass. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You are a no-go at this station. With that being said, look at it as an investment. It's a hard no now, but it could be a soft yes later on. The analogy I like to use is like building your credit. When you first take out your credit card, loan, or whatever, you have no credit history. So therefore, you have no credit history, meaning that you have no credit or good credit score. I use myself for an example. There I was, 19 years old, walk into Radio Shack at the time, which does not exist today, at least to my knowledge. And I applied for Verizon to get a phone that day and everything, because that was when phones were relatively new. But with that being said, they wanted a $900 down payment because my credit score was trash, straight up trash. And when the salesman told me this, I was like crushed. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even have a credit card. How could I have a bad score? So he saw that I got offended and he broke it down to me, and I'm going to break it down to you. And you got to look at it this way, right? When you have credit, you use credit responsibly, you build your credit score, right? Trying to get it above a 750, right? But in the military, when you join, especially with you, you have a stain in your past, but don't let that define you. So when you're joining the military, your investigator and the waiver authorities and all that stuff, they don't give a flying F who your character references are, because think about it. Are you really going to be dumb enough or naive enough to put somebody on as a reference in your SF-86 security questionnaire, aka your application, to speak bad about you? Probably not. It's safe to say that you're not going to. So therefore, we're not going to trust your character reference because we don't know them. We hell don't know you, right? So look at joining the military in something a little less exciting to get your foot in the door, and be thankful that you have been afforded the opportunity to serve, providing that your moral waiver gets approved. Secondly, moving forward, wait about maybe 2-3+ years of stellar service And then at the end of your current contract, let's say that's 3, 4, 6, whatever you sign up for, at the end of your contract, now you can negotiate in reclassing to a new MOS that may be attached to a secret clearance or top secret clearance position. I wouldn't even look at top secret at this point. Get your foot, dip your toe in the water for a secret clearance MOS or opportunity and go that route. Okay. So the reason why I'm saying that is you're investing your time, energy, and effort for the next 2 to 3 years to be your best version of yourself. Be self-disciplined, be motivated, do more than you're paid, because if you do it long enough, you'll eventually get paid more than you actually do. 1, 2, you're investing in your future. So when you go to apply for a secret clearance position later on, now we have trustworthy references that we're going to trust, aka your leadership, whether that's your squad leader, platoon sergeant, platoon leader, your company commander, your first sergeant, and other leaders around you, to include your peers. And I guarantee you not one of them is going to be like, I'm going to lie about them, right? So just be your best version of yourself. Show up on time, be on time, be in the correct uniform, don't do dumb stuff, stay out of trouble, always volunteer for things, be known as that go-getter that the unit can rely on, depend on, and know that if they're not there, you're still going to do the right thing. All right. So that way, when the investigator reaches out to them, be like, nah, man, he's straight. He's one of my best soldiers. He's high speed. And that's what you're looking for. Now they may look the other way and allow you and afford you that opportunity to seek something a little more exciting with a secret clearance. Okay. You could push your luck with the top secret clearance, but I think you're better off with a secret clearance for now. And then at the end of that contract, if you want to seek another opportunity with the top secret clearance or better, then go for it. All right. Good question. All right. Darian Holler also says, wow, you're amazing, bro. Hashtag Team Swartz all day. I appreciate that. Hit that like button if you haven't done it already. Appreciate you. We got Amy Lake. Are the vaccinations given at basic training? Yes. All right. The COVID vaccination, however, is optional. And I'm not even sure if they're still offering it at the reception battalion, but that is no longer mandated. Okay. That's been rescinded, dead, buried 6 feet under in the back. Hopefully it'll never come back. But for now, that one you don't need. But all the other vaccinations you will get. All right. And I suggest that you bring your shot record. They may or may not care to look at it or whatever, and you just might get everything all over again. But with that being said, I got it 3 times within a year. I got it at the reception battalion. I got it again in AIT because I lost my record. And then I got it in my unit when I got back home into the National Guard. And because my shot record magically wasn't available, guess what? Your boy was a pincushion for 3 separate situations. So I am vaxxed. Like, I probably can't even get cancer because I'm so vaxxed. Yeah, anyway. So, but good luck to you. Hyper dunk, all right? Running, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups. What else should I train for basic training? I would keep it simple. Push-ups, sit-ups, squats, pull-ups, dips, and running. All right, and reverse push-ups, meaning that you put your foot on a platform and it's like a pull-up, but you're laying down upside down, hanging on a bar. So it's like an L shape with your hands on the bar, your arms come down, and your spine is rigid in a straight line to your feet. And you do a pull-up in that position. So I refer to it as a reverse push-up. That works the back muscles. You don't want to neglect those, okay? And then obviously running. But if you check out my basic training prep video, definitely go check that out, because I have a workout program that includes a 6-day workout regimen for 90 days that includes 3 days of body weight workouts and 3 days of strength training. I suggest in the video that you omit and disregard the actual weight training portion and just stick to 3 days of body weight exercises and replacing the weightlifting days with cardio days, whether that's high intensity interval training, long distance running, or testing yourself and running the 2 miles in the shortest time possible. So good luck to you, and go check that out. And that's what I recommend. All right. We got Chris with the hashtag Team Swartz. Thank you. I didn't know about specific warrant officer recruiters. Very helpful. You're very welcome. And good luck. Jaden Contreras. What's up, man? Long time no see. If you are planning on attending the state OCS program, or officer candidate school program, do you attend that as a drill, and is it mandatory after basic, or is there a step in between? So I'm not sure which one you're doing specifically, whether that's state OCS, the state accelerated program, or the federal OCS. But with that being said, if you're doing state, because that's what it sounds like, yes, for us in our state, there's only one class that happens every single year. They typically will have you starting around like officially April through June, somewhere around there. But you graduate August of the following year. So I think June 1st is actually when like OCS phase 1 actually begins. And then you do a couple of weekends and then 2 weeks of annual training, 12 weekends of 1 weekend a month, another annual training, and then a drill or two, finishing up, wrapping it up, and graduating August of the next year. Okay. So just, yes. And they're mandatory. Like you cannot miss it. You cannot be sick. You cannot be injured. You can't have an event, a vacation, nothing. During OCS, like you have to understand, like when you join the military, even if it's National Guard or Reserve, which is part-time, 1 week in a month, your life will evolve around the Army. The Army will always come first, no matter what. So keep that in the back of your mind. All right. Appreciate you, Jaden. And hopefully that makes sense. I did a video. If you're still here, keep this, but it's the OCS options down below. And I go into more detail in the different options there. All right. Amy Lake, I will come right back to you because I got another super chat from Joel. Which is right here. Thank you so much, Joel, for supporting the channel. The super chat goes a really, really long way. Helps me upgrade my equipment to help deliver you the best videos and live streams possible. So that being said, Joel asks or says, enlisting as a 35 Foxtrot Intel analyst, any tips to start preparing for the role? Currently learning advanced Microsoft Excel. Anything else? Actually, I wouldn't have even thought of that, but yeah, that's pretty important. And honestly, I don't know much about 35 Fox. I mean, we do have a handful of those slots and 35 mics in our region, but I haven't enlisted any in a really long time. But I will do you a solid, and you actually just reminded me. One of my applicants asked me to do this, and I said I was going to do it. Slipped my mind, totally forgot. So thank you for that reminder. But yeah, if you direct message me on Instagram at Team Swartz, I will reach out to one of my 35 Foxes that I've previously enlisted that would be more than happy to answer any additional questions and stuff like that. But understand that it's academically challenging. It's not going to be for the weak. It's not going to be for the lazy. You literally have to be paying attention in class, and, you know, asking questions, engaging conversations and classroom stuff, to include taking notes, reviewing those notes in the evening, maybe even diving into the regulations and policies in the evening that you covered for the day, and continuing to write notes if needed and reviewing your notes. All right. On the weekend, dedicate some time, like maybe a couple hours on both Saturday and or Sunday, to continue your studies, because again, it is academically challenging. It's not slow paced, it's rapid. It's kind of like a fast course. Okay. So just be aware of that. Okay. So make sure that in the evenings, whoever you want to talk back at home, set a timer for 30 minutes, talk to whoever you want for 30 minutes, and then focused on the prize. Okay. Good luck to you. Appreciate again the support. All right. So direct message me again on, I'll put the link down in the chat box here, or my email address, but that's my Instagram, and my email address is coming in hot and heavy right now, teamswartzmedia@gmail.com, and we'll take it from there. All right. All right, so Christopher, actually no, I said I was going back at Amy. My bad, your fault. All right, Amy Lake, what if the vaccinations make you very sick? Does this happen much? Yes. Especially if you get the flu shot. But it's not that the vaccinations make you sick. What ends up happening is your body has to make antibodies and whatever else the vaccines do. And what that does is it brings down your immune system, makes you more susceptible to catching something or to get sick, which is why it's very, very important, why the Army makes sure at the very least that you shower in the evenings, and before each meal, every time you eat, you're going to wash your hands before you go in for chow. All right. So wash often. Again, just like during Rona, right? Don't touch your mouth, don't touch your eyes. Again, you don't want to catch something, and it's inevitable. You're going to get sick. Plan on getting sick at least once at basic training, because you have 60 mother flowers living in the barracks, and that's why we alternate, like bunk, 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 right? This bunk, one head here, one head here. The next one, this way, this way, this way, all the way down the room, all the way around the room. That way, your breathing space is alternating with the person on the top bunk and the person next to you, helping mitigate any type of contaminants in the air that you could possibly breathe in, thus getting you sick or spreading whatever it is that you may have as well. All right. Good question though. All right. Christopher Golovich says, my doctor said he could put a lesser version of the bipolar and I could still join. Is that true? All right, Christopher, I'll put it to you this way. And for everybody else here who's like living in a cave under a rock and has done zero research, I'm going to talk to you about MHS Genesis. Ooh, that reminds me, I was going to send that to someone earlier today. And here is the update video to the questions that we had in that video when Genesis took over. But with that being said, MEPS, DOD, United States military in general, right, has a new program called MHS Genesis, which affords the ability of MEPS and military medical staff to look into your medical history. And with that being said, that's probably why you're asking me this. If your doctor, prior to submitting a simple or complex pre-screen, in this case it's going to be complex because you just admitted that you have a bipolar diagnosis in the system. If your doctor can go back into your electronic records and reword it, re-diagnose you, or change it, not like add to, but like take away the original diagnosis and maybe reword it to be something of a lesser, not necessarily offense, but a lesser thing, then yeah, that would be to your advantage, and that doctor should get an award. Seriously. But seriously, yeah, another, no, I'm not even gonna say that live. Good job. All right, so Manny VG says, I just enlisted and my recruiter didn't tell me. He put me in a unit that's over an hour away to fill a slot. How hard is it to transfer units to the city I'm in after OSEP? Real quick, I'm gonna pay attention up here on my cell phone. Let me know, Manny, if you're from New York City specifically, and if you're in the Guard or the Reserve. And then I'll tell you how that works, because it's going to be different. Let me know. Holler at you. All right. Sully Diak, what's going on, man? Swartz the GOAT. Let me tell you, man. He almost scared me last night. This is the most recent enlistment that I told you about that enlisted and contracted today. Almost gave me a heart attack. It's like a recruiter's worst nightmare, where the night before the applicant's like, hey, man, I need time to think about it. I need time to research. I remember looking at my phone and I'm like, this mother flower. Took me a few seconds, a few moments to respond. And I responded back in a text without reacting. I was like, research? Prompting him to talk to me. Anyway, I didn't have to pull out my expert recruiting skills because I let it simmer without reacting and controlling myself from panicking. But with that being said, he let me know that he was just joking. But yeah, he wanted to reschedule to another day. But congratulations to you, yeah, appreciate you. And yeah. So with that being said, and thank you for choosing me to be your recruiter. Out of everybody in New York City, you could have been that could have been your recruiter. I appreciate that. And that goes show you proof that, you know, creating content like this, helping people, it resonates with people, and that's why he reached out to me. And that's why I love YouTube, man. I mean, I don't do it for that. I do it to help people. But that's definitely a good byproduct of what I do. So Manny says, I live in Oklahoma and I'm in the Guard. Okay, cool. So I'm not sure what your MOS is, but you could definitely request a transfer in the Guard. It's called a 76 Bravo, 76B. As long as the losing unit and the gaining unit that you would like to go to that has your MOS is willing to accept you. So one commander is willing to lose you. The other one has to be willing to accept you. You cannot be flagged or have any other issues. Yes, you can definitely request a transfer. Unfortunately, they do not have to do it. And one of the issues you might run into is there may not be a unit nearest you for the MOS that you contracted for, which is why your unit is over an hour away, unfortunately. So in our state, in my region, it's a 2-hour limit, right? 100 miles or 2 hours, whichever one comes first. So just keep that in mind. That's our standard here in our state. Anything beyond 100 miles requires a unit commander authorization letter stating that they understand that this person lives XYZ, they have a vehicle, they're financially stable, and potentially shouldn't have any issues making it to drill on time. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right. So pardon for the noise in the background. My daughter is having a little moment, so hopefully you guys don't hear it. But I appreciate y'all. All right, so Riley says, I see. Not such a big deal for me since I have my diploma. All right, good to go. Yeah, man, I think that was about the PyCat comment earlier today. So yeah, you just had to check the box that you got it. Done, completed. All right, Darian says, I meant to say Army National Guard. Shoot. You gave me a super chat. Yeah, same process though. Yeah, we were talking about OCS. All right, so Riley says when hang on. Yeah. So is it on the screen? Yeah, Riley says stand by. Manny says there is a unit I was just wondering, but that's very helpful information. Thank you. You're very welcome. So Manny, I don't know when you graduate from training, but for the next couple of drills, I would go to your unit for like 2 to 3 months and be like the best possible soldier, period. The reason being is when you go to request a transfer, you need to show them that you gave it honest effort to show up to drill on time. Actually be on time. But after the second, preferably after the 3rd month, I would talk to your squad leader and your platoon sergeant and be like, hey, listen, is it okay if I talk to the unit full-time staff or the first sergeant? Because honestly, this is providing that, again, the other unit that's closer to you has the same MOS. Say that it is a financial hardship for you to travel back and forth. Stretch the truth a little bit. I'm not saying lie, but stretch the truth a little bit. Say like, it's a family car, you have to share it, and it causes a lot of issues by taking it away for the entire weekend or what have you. But yeah, and just be honest and upfront with them. And if you are a good soldier and you don't give them any issues, they'll be more willing to help you out and maybe have a little bit of empathy, hopefully. Every unit's different. Some units are more challenging, to put it lightly, than others, and that goes for guard, reserve, or even active duty. But yes, 76 Bravo is the way to transfer. So with that being said, going back up to Riley. When will I learn where my first duty station will be? If you were here earlier, about the middle of your AIT, Advanced Individual Training, or OSUT. The playlist, is it possible to get a duty station after AIT on the IPSE website without negotiating a duty station? It has Fort Cavazos, Fort Hood, I hate that place, I hear you, at a medical unit as a 25 uniform. Should this be changed before I graduate? Or could this be changed before I graduate? It could change by the needs of the Army, but you can always request it, and if they deny it, it is what it is. That's where you're going, all right? Yeah, unfortunately, again, it's based on the needs of the Army. If that's where they decide to send you, then that's where they decide to send you. I just don't like Fort Hood or Fort Cavazos because of its recent history with, if you don't know, some not very nice things. That place is a hot mess. I haven't heard anything recently. Everything's been quiet, which is good. No news is good news. But I hope that they seriously and royally un-F themselves, because that place has me concerned. But I understand that that could be a possibility of that being a concern for you as well. So I understand. But again, have that dialogue with your leadership at the training site and see what could happen. And no, IPSE has nothing to do with your contract and the needs of the Army. AIT will be coordinating all that stuff. All right, but good luck to you. All right, so FN says, can you talk about the 09 mic program? Can I talk about it? What do you want to know? I did a whole video on this program. Okay, I'm going to shoot it in the chat box right now, but it's also linked down below in the description area. Be sure to go check that out for more details. But the 09 mic program allows you to improve your ASVAB scores or lose body fat. All right, currently right now, and it's probably not going any lower, but if you score between a 21 and a 30, and you need to improve your ASVAB scores, you could do the academic portion of the training to increase your scores. You choose your MOS after you successfully complete everything at the end, and then you'll sign your contract not sign your contract, you already signed your contract, but you're solidifying your MOS and all that stuff at that point. Now, if you do the body fat composition portion of the training, which is the, body fat. Currently right now, for your age and gender, the qualifications are you cannot be any more than 6% over your maximum allowable body fat percentage. In the very near future, they will be increasing that to 8%. And currently right now, last I heard, including the academic and the body fat version of the 09 mic program, because you can do both of them. You'll do the academic portion first and then the body fat, but you can do both. And if you're only doing it for the body fat, you get MOS of choice at time of contracting. The ASVAB portion does not until you pass the ASVAB or complete the program and still meet the minimum requirements as described in that video I just posted down below. And what else? You'll do PT every day, classes in the morning, study hall in the afternoon, and then study on your own evenings. If you're in the body fat composition part, you do your main workout in the morning, a less strenuous workout, shorter workout in the afternoon, and you might do something like yoga or stretching or Pilates or something minor in the evenings. Not every day, but occasionally. But they have over a 98% graduation rate currently, is what they're last I heard. All right. And if they do increase that to 8% body fat, I could possibly see that remain the same or decrease a little bit. But I'm hopeful. This program has been phenomenal. Every soldier that I've sent down there have all graduated and moved on to greater and better things. And when it comes to the academic version, contrary to what I shared in the video, the recruiters have no say-so in MOS prior to you getting there. So you will be presented a handful of opportunities once you meet the academic requirements at the end, and you'll have 5 minutes or less to choose one of those opportunities. So is this a good program? I think that this is a phenomenal program. I think that beggars can't be choosers. Most people are not self-disciplined or have the means, like monetary, like funding, to be able to pay for a tutor or to even take it seriously enough to study on their own and be consistent, working a full-time job or part-time job or going part-time or full-time college, or the combination of thereof. Like, life throws you lemons. The program is perfect because you have no other choice but to be focused, and to be in the now, and to be fully immersed day in and day out, and be consistent, setting yourselves up for success. So yes, if you're doing just the academic portion and you may not get an MOS of choice, you may have to settle for something a little less exciting just to get your foot in the door. But understand that at the end of your current contract, you can negotiate to reclass to a new MOS based on your new line scores. So there's that. Secondly, another bald moment. Forgot the other point I was going to deliver before I moved on. Oh yeah. Also an update from when I recorded and posted that video. You can now choose a 3-year contract versus a 6-year contract for the 09 mic program. Well, you know. Hell yeah. But that video will do justice. Go watch it. Senator says, so do you have to choose your top 10 MOSs on your list when you're becoming an officer, or do you have less options? So when you commission as an officer, you don't have an MOS, military occupation specialty, aka your job skill as an enlisted soldier, is a particular skill, a particular job. As an officer, it's not a skill, it's leadership within that field of study. All right. So instead of an MOS, you will branch as whatever. So if you were here earlier, there was somebody that wanted to get into cyber, but this is not inclusive, but there's signal support, human resources, supply, transportation, finance, things of that nature, right? Those are like the officers equivalent to an MOS. So an enlisted soldier has two routes. They could do OSUT, meaning one station unit training to complete their combat arms job, or MOS. Or like me, I'm combat support. I enlisted as an administrative assistant, which is now in modern times human resources specialist, paper pusher, right? So we have to go through a basic training experience and then an AIT, an advanced individual training, meaning your job specific training in a specific skill, whether that's human resources, finance, light wheel vehicle mechanic, heavy wheel vehicle mechanic, track vehicle mechanic, right? Chemical, nuclear, biological, radiological specialist, or what have you, right? Weapon specialist, whatever. That's a specific skill set. As an officer, you're going to do Army basic training with the rest of us. And then you're going to do BOLIC, your basic officer leadership course, which is equivalent to kind of like our MOS training, but whatever you branch as an officer. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. But I'll put here in case you weren't here earlier and you stepped out and you came back. Appreciate that. And here's my OCS option overview video, and then I'll break it down for you. But yeah, you'll list it from most interested to least interested for at least 10 options. All right, Pax Abello, with finally making it to a live stream. Hooah! That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. All right, appreciate you tuning in. All right, Alberto Duerta says, how can I go to airborne school with the National Guard? If you are in one of the lucky handful of states across this country that actually has an airborne specific unit, then that may be an opportunity for you. If not, it is not going to be a contractual option. So you cannot ask for it at time of contracting. It is not you do not get specialty schools unless you're going special forces or if you're going into an airborne specific unit. All right. So with that being said, if you want to increase the probability of you going or being offered airborne school, this would be the route to go. Kind of sucks depending on your mindset, work ethic, needs, wants, and desires. But because airborne school is literally down the street to your OSUT experience as a infantryman, as an 11 Bravo or Charlie, 11X if you're going active duty, down the street is the airborne school. They heavily recruit for airborne airborne slots to be filled as needed in that location, which is formerly Fort Benning, which is now Fort Moore, M-O-O-R-E, Fort Moore, okay? So if you go infantry, route training, providing that you have a higher than average Army combat fitness test score, 600 being a perfect score, and I think 370 is the minimum standard. Like if you're in the upper 300s to even 4, maybe 500s, unless you're like 530 and above, preferably 550 and above, then they'll offer you that type of stuff. All right. It's based on first come, first serve, and active duty do unfortunately get precedence of these opportunities, and any other slots that are remaining get divvied out to the Guard and Reserve. So understand this, that when you're at the training site, if they do try to recruit you for any specific specialty school like airborne, ranger, special forces, do not throw that opportunity over your shoulder. Do not get homesick and be like, oh, I'll do it later because I just want to go home, relax, chill, Netflix and chill or whatever, right? Take the opportunity because you're probably more than likely not going to get that opportunity again, excluding special forces. I'm talking about like ranger and airborne, okay? take that opportunity to get those schools at that time. Do not throw it over your shoulder. It's very, very challenging to get those slots later on, unless you're like la creme of la creme, like the best soldier in your unit, in an infantry unit, and at the unit level, because you got to understand, the state receives a certain number of training seats for specialty schools like this that get divvied out primarily to the combat arms units to utilize, and they were only going to offer them who have a really, really high PT score. And yeah, it could be challenging to stand out in that M1 because there's a lot of you. It's very egotistical, very machismo, something like that. Machisto. Right? So there's a lot of people that are very fit that you will be competing with to hopefully earn one of those slots. Or you could win it by getting like Soldier of the Year, win the Soldier of the Year board, maybe compete in the, what do they call it? Best Warrior competition, right? You can Google that, figure that out, what that is. But those are some other ways of getting it. All right, so we got Pax Bello also saying those stress fractures will really get you. What led to my chapter back in 2019? They'll get you. There you go. Proof in the pudding right there. Riley Simmons, believe it or not, Radio Shack is still in business. No way. Get out. Are you serious? You're messing with me. You're effing with me for sure. There's no way that Radio Shack is still in business. It's impossible. Nah. I think you're capping, bro. Straight capping. Brolic J, what's up? Long time no see. Can you lift weights at basic training and OSA 31 Bravo? Thank you, Sarge. All right, so during basic training, usually not, but any type of PT equipment that they have inside the barracks, like ever since the Army Combat Fitness Test, they now have dumbbells, kettlebells, pull-up bars, deadlift, hex bars. Yes, in the evening, as long as your drill sergeant okays you guys to do it, you can work out additionally in the evenings, but not during PT in the morning. It's usually going to be body weight exercise unless you're doing a fancy circuit and pulling equipment out to use it, but that's going to be super rare in my opinion. But in the evenings, whatever's in the barracks, you will be able to utilize at the discretion of your leadership, meaning your drill sergeant. So just so you understand and are aware. All right. All right. So John Doe, interesting name, but can you reschedule MEPS dates? Yeah. I mean, we can't force you to go to MEPS. We definitely can't force you. So yes, you can, in theory, reschedule. Hopefully it's for a legitimate reason, but have that dialogue with your recruiter. And yeah, depending on the situation, we prefer not to, but you never know. But have that conversation with your recruiter and take it from there. Just be honest with your recruiter. All right? If you're just rescheduling to string them along because you're just trying to be nice and you just don't want to no longer do it, hey, I get it. But as much as you, and I'm not saying that this is your case, I'm just throwing it out there for anybody who's watching. If at any point throughout your process that you're no longer interested in joining, then don't keep scheduling and rescheduling MEPS processing and other stuff, because you're just stringing along and it's annoying as a recruiter. Like if you don't want to do it, like I got a pretty good skill, I guess, to know when someone's like not about it, and I'm okay with that. Like it's not a big deal if you don't want to join anymore. So if you don't want to join, just be straight up with your recruiter, and you know, if you can, it helps us get closure as a recruiter. But you know, share your why you don't want to do it, because you never know. It could be a misunderstanding, you're misinformed, maybe your sphere of influence is spilling misinformation to you, and that's why you're, you know, feeling insecure about your decision in joining. Because nothing worse when you have somebody that's never served in the military, or even served, I'll get to that in a second, but if they've never served, for some reason they know exactly what to do with your life, and more than half the time they're not doing anything special with their life, and they're not even part of the solution to anything within the government or just life in general. They're just whatever. But when you talk to somebody who's previously served, They either love their experience, hate their experience, or are indifferent. And I can pretty much guarantee you that almost every single person who did not like their experience in the military, majority of those people are probably people that were sold a specific idea of what their service was going to be like. They had a certain level of expectation, and when that expectation is not met, maybe they were straight up lied to or duped, because honestly, they probably didn't do enough research on their own, and that sucks. And with all the information at your fingertips through Google, YouTube, influencers like myself, even though I don't consider myself an influencer, I consider myself a content creator, but it's just a title. But either way, neither here nor there. Just understand, like, take it with a grain of salt. Just because, like, someone could come from formerly Fort, we were just talking about earlier, Fort Cavazos, right? Formerly Fort got the name of it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's say Fort Drum, because that's near me. So let's say I have a really bad experience at Fort Drum. You gotta understand, that's me. Like, you don't know what my work ethic is like, if I'm a responsible soldier, a reliable, dependable soldier. Do I show up on time? Do I do all the things that I need to do and all that good stuff, right? And you don't know my resiliency or what have you, right? So when someone shares their experience, they're sharing it from their lens, their experience, and their mindset, their work ethic. So take it with a grain of salt. So just because I served and I loved it doesn't mean that you're gonna love it. I could go to Fort Drum and be like, oh man, F that place, I'm never going there again. You go there and be like, oh man, I kind of like it. 10th Mountain is awesome, I love it here. You know, so it's all about perspective. So hear what they have to say, factor that in your consideration whether you want to serve or not. But at the end of the day, you have to choose what's best for you, for your reasons and your reasons alone, and know yourself, right? What are your deal breakers? What's important to you? What's not? And all that good stuff. So just throwing that out there for you. I did a video that will deep dive more on that particular topic, titled Don't Join the United States Army Until You Watch This Video. All right? Highly informative. The must watch. Let's see. Senator says, how many letters of recommendations do you need to become an Army officer? For regular Army, I think you need 3. For the Guard, at least in my state, you don't need any. You just need straight enlisting, straight into OCS. We don't need any character references. But if you're in the unit as a Guard member, then yeah, you need to be recommended by a officer, which is usually going to be your commander. And if you don't get that endorsement recommendation letter, too sad, too bad, unfortunately. Sandra also says, hashtag Team Swartz. Question, can someone join if they have traffic tickets? Yes, as long as they are closed, sealed, finished, finito, you don't owe any more money. All fines and fees have been paid in full. So if you have an open, pending ticket or court case, you're going to have to wait until they're closed to be able to join. Okay? Whether that means you just outright plead guilty and pay off everything and eat it, which may or may not be in your favor. But yeah, even with criminal tickets, criminal and traffic, you cannot join with a pending open court case for criminal or traffic. Okay. Let's see. Gary Larson says, how's it going, Team Swartz? It's going well, thank you. Just wanted to let you know the volume is low, like it was last week at maximum hard to hear or replay as well. Interesting. Let me know if this is a little bit better. I just increased it. Let me know if that's a little bit better. Please let me know in the chat box. Does this sound better? Ooh, hi Juliana. American Juliana, that's my daughter right there. What's up, baby girl? How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Y'all, I mean you. I appreciate you, baby. Sorry, I'm running 2.5, 3 hours of sleep. Does this sound better? Am I loud enough? Loud and clear? Please let me know in the chat box. That would be great before I move on. Volume is great. Perfect. All right. I'm gonna raise it up a little bit higher just in case. But if it clips, please let me know if it clips. Like it distorts the sound of the voice, like clips, I guess. Like it just sounds like straight trash. But if it's good, let me know. Bye, baby. Have a good night. Sweet dreams, princess. Daddy loves you. All right, moving right along now that the volume is fixed. I apologize for that. Over an hour and 15 minutes of low volume. That's got to be annoying. And on top of that, I had music playing, which probably makes it even more challenging on top of that. Bye, baby. All right, so Christ Live says, what's your advice to someone who is permanently disqualified from service? Without any additional context, I wouldn't really know how to respond to this, but if serving your country is important to you and you've exhausted every means to possibly get an approved medical, moral, or administrative waiver, then you can serve and help out veterans, right? You could work for or volunteer for, let's say, the Veterans Affairs Hospital, the Wounded Warrior Project, and similar opportunities, right? And that's a great way to support your troops that way, for sure. And there's other veteran programs out there that you could also volunteer for. Moses asks, how long is the wait between basic training and AIT? Typically no more than 2 weeks. Same day, if not next day, you're usually traveling to your AIT. Christian Martin says, 32 years old. Should I even bother joining at this point? Absolutely. Say less, fam. Like, hello. Make it happen. In fact, I think that you're in your prime, right? Think about it. Basic training obviously is going to be slightly physical, especially more so for the people that are not physically active. But if you have a basic level of physical fitness, in my experience and awareness, people that are older, let's say 26 to 35 or even older, y'all have an advantage of experiencing life, holding down a job, experiencing certain things in life, setbacks, advancements, so on and so forth. So when you're in training, you know how to deal with stress, difficult people, so on and so forth, because of the experience that you have in life. So it's not going to be as mentally challenging to you compared to someone who's 17 to 21 years old, for example. So I think you are in your prime, and you might even outperform some of these youngins, some of these young bucks in basic training physically too. So, and then, actually I have a video for you can check out right here that will go into more of my opinion about joining at an older age. Coming hot and heavy in the chat box. There you go. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. All right. So, but yeah, make it happen. Make it happen. Let's see. Former 74 Delta checking in, looking to re-enlist. Talked to a recruiter today. I'm not seeing anything else after that, but excellent. Appreciate you coming in here, and welcome back. Hopefully it works out for you in your favor, and good luck to you, especially with Genesis. All right, so we got Jean Carl Zidor says, guaranteed to get sick at basic, the basic training bug. Hail to the yeah. And this is Private Diak. Yeah, congratulations again. And thank you again for choosing me to be your recruiter. Christopher Galovich says, hashtag Team Swartz, appreciate you. Manny says, I live. Okay, we're talking about that. Arson Walker says, just did OSA at Fort Benning, which is now Fort Moore. Not as hard as I thought it would be. LOL. Martin Fernando says, I still have 3 years left on active duty. Is it possible to get transferred to National Guard to finish my contract there? All right, Martini, Fernando, I have really not so good news for you. So per regulation, you cannot transfer from active duty to National Guard or Reserve. to finish out your contract. There are some programs out there, and I would talk to your local retention people on post to see what kind of opportunities may be out there that your commander is going to have to endorse and approve. But let's say, and I don't know exactly how it works, I just know that it's a thing. This is just one possible route that you could do or explore, is to get out early, like within 6 months or so, to pursue college. I don't know anything more than that. So again, talk to your retention people and see what your options are. But just so you know, the Army's holding on to everybody. They can. Anyway, who they can. Dollar Blessed says pass MEPS, enlisted, and ship out on February 20th as a specialist E4. Probably leverage the CAS program as an 88 mic motor transport. Congratulations. All right, so good stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Vixie Tain says, how hard or easy is it to get specialty school while in the Guard? Also, does contract length affect it? No, contract length doesn't affect it unless you're like possibly under 12 months of your ETS or end date of your current contract. Then it might play a role. But other than that, if you got more than a year left, it should be fine. And I explained it earlier, so hopefully you tuned into that. Jean Carl Zador says, I'm a graduate from the 09 Mic program. One of them, hang on, just graduated the 09 Mic program. One of them best things the Army has to offer. If you're thinking about it as a bad thing, you are wrong. And I agree with this person. You will be far more advanced than everyone else in basic. And I agree with this. Now, this person did not elaborate on it, but these are my 2 cents on the Future Soldier preparatory course. Let's say you join with your scores being that the way they are. And obviously, if you're qualifying for the 09 Mic program, you did not pass the ASVAB or scored relatively low and you opted into it anyway, which is, if you can't opt into it, then definitely go for it. The reason being is your scores are at whatever. The version of the ASVAB that you get at the 09 Mic program is the same one they use for the BSEP course as I described in my video. And if you're new here, I'm going to put it in the chat box real quick so you know what I'm talking about. You can check it out later at your leisure. But it's a different variant that's not as challenging or difficult or hard as the one that you do at MEPS as the ASVAB. It's not the ASVAB that you're retaking at the 09 Mic program. It's a version of a test that's similar to the ASVAB. So almost everybody, even without the 09 Mic program, going through the BSEP course, as I described in that video, will increase your scores. Okay? So just food for thought. And by not doing it, your scores stay low. But even though you don't, if you're doing it for the academic version, right? If your scores are low, look at it as an advantage, because by the time you complete the program, all your scores are going to be higher than they were here. Which, what does that mean? Like, you have limited options here. You have a lot more options here. Even though you might not get job of choice, but again, if you stick it out, you settle for something a little less exciting to the end of your current contract, you can negotiate to reclass to a new MOS with one of these new opportunities that you were not afforded down here when you tested at your own and studied on your own and did everything on your own accord. But if you allow the Future Soldier Prep course and you do your best to increase all your areas of the test, you're gonna qualify for a lot more opportunities and jobs later on. That is the advantage. So you're taking a small L in the beginning to help hopefully take a strong, large leap forward, if that makes sense. Okay. So that's the advantage. My 2 cents on the program. WN Dark East says, as prior service that's been out 10 years, will I keep my rank going back into basic? I was an E4 specialty. Yeah, those are easy. Yeah, you'll keep that. You just get a new date of rank. That's it. Excuse me for yawning. Got like 2.5, 3 hours of sleep last night. I have a DX. Had me drive him in this morning. Anywho, not his fault. I mean, it's my bad, his fault. It is what it is. It's actually my command's fault. Anyway, long story for another day. Sarah asks, what jobs can I probably get with a 69 ASVAB score? My recruiter is waiting for MEPS to approve me to tell me, and I'm so anxiously curious. I don't understand. If you've taken the ASVAB test, what is your recruiter waiting on? It doesn't make any sense. Like, your test scores, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do you a solid, and you're going to do your own research, and you're going to find out what you are pre-qualified for, and the rest of my video will explain the rest. So Sarah, check out this video. Coming into you hot and heavy in the chat box, also linked down below in the description. So this video is going to explain a lot of things that you're probably not going to ask yourself or be aware of to be able to ask. So I'll answer a lot of your questions that you may have and then some. Secondly, just a disclaimer here, at the time of recording that video, literally less than 3 months after I recorded and posted the video, the United States Army GoArmy.com website was revamped and they took that ability away. So for your convenience, I've uploaded an Excel sheet. Recruiters like myself have a live document. So as things change, higher scores, lower scores, additional requirements, takeaway requirements, so on and so forth, we have that live document that we go online and sift out your opportunities. But this will get you in the good ballpark of what you're pre-qualified for based on your test results. Watch the video. You'll thank me later. Any additional questions, direct message me on Instagram at Team Swartz, same name as this channel, or you can email me at teamswartzmedia@gmail.com. All right, well, good luck to you. That should make more sense. And just get a copy of your line scores. Just ask your recruiter, hey, can you go into Recruiter Zone and take a picture of my test scores? I want to do my own research. There you go. The more you know. The playlist says, is it true that 25 uniform or signal support specialist don't go to signal units and instead go to other units like medical, infantry, and supply? You can, so, and this isn't any, well, almost any MOS, but in your example, the Army will determine based on the needs of the Army, are you going to go to a signal support unit or are you going to go to another unit and support them in their radio needs or communication needs? So it could work either way. So I don't know where you're getting your information from, but it could be either or. Actual designated unit or a handful in a particular unit to support them in their efforts. Ricardo Cologne says, hi, how can I qualify for the future soldier preparatory course? So Ricardo, got you. Go check out this video for the full list, but minimum you need to score a 21 to a 50. I mean, 21 to a 30. Get a will do score on the TAPEST, which is your personality test, score of 100 or better, and meet the rest of the general criteria. There you go. And if it's for the body fat composition, no more than 6%, soon to be no more than 8% of your maximum allowable body fat per your age and gender. Go check out that video for more information. The Officials TV. I'ma just take the test, bro. Don't really care about the job. I'm trying to become military police or law enforcement in the real world. Don't care if I have to wait 2 to 4 years. All right, the Officials TV. This is just my 2 cents. Don't do what I say. Do what I say. I don't matter, man. Honestly, most law enforcement agencies would much rather you not be military police in the military because too many bro vets or veterans or prior service individuals who apply to go to law enforcement or actually get into law enforcement end up getting in trouble because, well, in the Army, we did it this way and this is actually better. You have to follow the SOP, standard operating procedures, and the bylaws to the agency in which you work for as a civilian law enforcement agent. The military do things a military way and civilian law enforcement do it a civilian way. And each department will have their own SOPs, standard operating procedures, and so on and so forth. So it could be different from one agency to the next. All right. So just keep that aware. So it's actually best to choose another MOS, any MOS, because to go law enforcement, it doesn't matter if you're military police. Your military police experience has nothing to do, no bearing on the entire process or hiring process to become a law enforcement officer, period. The fact that you are a service member or a prior service member, that's what matters. That's the edge that you'll have. Sarah, I heard the Army just changed their standards on asthma. Apparently, they are no more, hang on, what? They are, are. I thought you said not. are more accepting of it. I'm not sure, but MEPS still asked me for a PFT. There's no new update to asthma. All right, it's been the standard for as long as I've been recruiting, almost 20 years. But check out this video. They will require you to do a PFT, depending on the severity. If it was on or before the age of 14 years old, or recently, then yeah, that's when you run into issues. But as long as you haven't had an asthma-related incident, regardless if a pump was continued to be issued to you as a precautionary measure, then you're good. You might not need a waiver. But if you had asthma and it was documented due to an emergency room, doctor visit, or expressed anything to a medical professional that's in your electronic medical records that you've complained of a asthma-related breathing issue after the age of 14, either way is going to get you disqualified initially, but you will have to request a medical waiver and hopefully get approved. So depending on the severity, the pump, the dosage, frequency, how long, so on and so forth, all these things will be factored into the decision-making process on whether or not to approve your medical waiver. So good luck. May the waiver gods forever be in your favor. Riley, there aren't a ton of them, but there are. Okay, I'm not sure what that was a reference to. I apologize. Gene says you need a 31 ASVAB to be an MP. No, you don't actually. You need the line score and qualify and be eligible for a secret clearance to be MP. You can actually be MP and fail the ASVAB and be a 09 mic or even a Cat 4. All right. So the AFQT score of a 31 or better, has no bearing on whether or not you're going to qualify for a specific MOS. It's the line scores. And if you're confused, Gene, and to anybody else, go check out this video. It's called "What is the ASVAB test based on?" That's the name of the video. I break it down. I even give you tips and tricks on how to the strategy to take and complete the ASVAB test, to include free resources that you can use online or purchase on Amazon or whatever. So definitely go check that out. All right, so we got Anthony G-Man says 88 mic or motor transport, great health and physical shape. Awesome. That's awesome. Ooh, my daughter is giving my wife a run for her money tonight. Honey says Honey Buns. Interesting name. Very interesting, Honey Buns. All right, cool. So just signed my 25 hotel contract today and got an airborne school in it. That's what I'm talking about. Who a freaking Luya. So the officials TV. I feel frustrated in life with the meaningless jobs, at least in the Army. I'll have meaning and find meaning for myself. All right, good stuff. Appreciate your honest feedback and yeah, or your honesty rather. Yes, if you come in here with an open mind, you give 200% of yourself. All right, I put it to people like this. Just like anything in life, whether it's school, work, combination thereof, anything you do with life, what you put into it is what you get out of it. If you feel frustrated with life and meaningless jobs and maybe it's not your passion, that's cool. Hopefully you will find your passion, whether that be in the military or not, or maybe the military is just a stepping stone to taste new things and to find something else that you're more passionate about, right? But always put your best foot first. And even if you find yourself struggling to the point where you're contemplating certain things, I want to leave you with this. Even if you're down to your last dollar, always bet on yourself. Always. You are in charge of what goes on between this year and this year inside your head, how you talk to yourself, how you project things positively, and actually putting forth real effort every single day. They say that knowledge is power, and that's false. That's a fallacy. Knowledge is only power if it's backed up by massive action. Just knowing something and doing nothing with that information is useless. Wasted time, wasted effort in reading it or watching it. But if you back it up with massive action, you learn, you execute, fail, re-engage, fix the variable, continue the experiment, and you put forth your best foot forward, bringing your best version of yourself to the game, that's when real work, that's when real things happen in your favor. But if you're just going to live life feeling sorry for yourself, because nobody cares about people who are feeling sorry for themselves. All right. But yeah, just be your best version and just live day to day, making the best day of your life every single day. Every day is a good day when you wake up. Just remember that. All right. Nova says, planning to come as a 68 whiskey, looking to join the Rangers. Do you recommend option 40 or should I wait before trying RASP? Not super confident in my physical shape, but not in terrible shape either. Thanks. As long as you put forth decent amount of effort during basic training and sporadically throughout the day, maybe every hour in the hour for the next 5 to 8 hours, you knock out 10, 20 push-ups. The next day, 10 to 20 sit-ups, same, and repeat that every single day. By the end of your basic training experience, 10 weeks later, you will be stronger, faster, and better. Then you do the same thing in AIT or throughout your OSET experience. If they do offer you RASP or the National Guard's variant of the RTLI and so on and so forth, definitely take it. But if you are offered option 40, the worst thing that could happen is you fail out physically or whatever, right? You may get injured. It happens. And you can re-engage and go back later on, possibly depending on what component of the Army you're in funding and school slots and stuff like that with your unit. But you could go back and get another opportunity. Crap happens. But your ability to overcome, that's the real game. Think about it. General S. Patton once said, I don't judge a person on how high they climb the ladder of success, but rather how high they bounce when they hit rock bottom. Think about that. Let that sit in there for a second. Tori says, can you join the Army with a shellfish allergy? I have yet to see one approved. Now, my advice to you is if it's a mild allergy, just make sure that the doctor clearly states in your record that it's for, let's say you get like an EpiPen, that it's for a precautionary measure only, which is why it's prescribed, but they don't believe that you would get something shock. I think it starts with an A or a V. Anyway, that's when it's like detrimental to your health. But yeah, worst case scenario, if it is a mild allergy, I would take it to the point where you ask your doctor if you could do, like, I forgot the term for it, but you consume shellfish in front of a medical professional and they monitor you for however long they need to, and they can rule out that it is not a life-threatening allergy. Then you'll be in the clear and be in a good position to get a favorable consideration for a medical waiver, okay? So just food for thought on that, okay? And again, this is for everybody. If you have not been diagnosed from a doctor, you do not have an allergy, you do not have whatever medical condition that you think you have, unless it's been actually documented and diagnosed from a medical professional. You're welcome. Don't disqualify yourselves for no reason. And I don't care if mommy told you, when you were 2 years old, you had an asthma attack and that you have asthma. Unless you were diagnosed from a doctor, you don't have asthma. Last time I checked, your mom does not have a medical degree and she is not practicing medicine. Tori says, can you join the Army? Oh yeah, we already talked about that. My bad, your fault. Jean Carl Zador, best decision you can make is to join the military. Life becomes a lot easier. In a lot of aspects, yes. Team Swartz coming in from Henry De La Cruz Jr. Appreciate that. Frankie says, can you join the military if you have heartburn or have had depression years ago? As long as you've overcome the heartburn, then you should be fine. It will be frowned upon and more than likely, most definitely going to require a medical waiver, because that could be an underlying, what I've learned in recent history, an underlying condition that could be, or prove to be later on, a much bigger issue. So if you just experience heartburn and it's not diagnosed, then you should be fine. But if you've gone to the doctor for it, it could be like acid reflux, gastritis, all kinds of different things that could be causing it, right? Last year, because I finally started to go see a doctor for it, but for over a year, I've been struggling with gastritis type issues. And it's only recently that I saw a gastrologist or whatever it's called, a gastro kind of guy, but intestinal digestive system type doctor. And yeah, man, so it's been interesting. I'm on antibiotics now. It's been confirmed that if this is TMI, then stop listening for like 30 seconds. But H. pylori bacteria, so they're killing that off. And I have an endoscopy and unfortunately a colonoscopy. But I have potentially, based on the stool sample I gave, I have possibly some digestive issues, which is why they're going up the rear end. As you can tell, I'm really excited about that, but character development. Anyway, moving right along. It sucks. Honey Buns also says, one of my friends went infantry and said a lot of people in basic were in their 30s. There you go. Yander says, can you get multiple waivers? For example, medical and moral. Yes. Be like Pokemon. Collect them all if you need to. As long as they all get approved, you're in there like swimwear. Xavier Del Valle says, hashtag Team Swartz. Appreciate that very much. Question, can you join with a felony that got pardoned and have a smaller case that were dismissed without adjudication, straight out, thrown out? Talk a bit about moral waivers. Moral waivers is I have to do a deep dive video on this particular topic, kind of like my medical waiver video. But even if it was, all right, so unless it was outright dismissed, it's going to be viewed as if you're guilty, right? So you said that you were being originally charged with a felony offense and that you got a pardon to a small, like drop down to a smaller infraction and then later dismissed. So if you're like in New York where you have something with like prejudice, like it's called a conditional release, which is a form of probation, meaning that there is a level of guilt that the court found you in. And the court said that we will do you a solid, that based on this conditional release as a felony, it's like 12 to 24 months of a conditional release. And you may do community service and so on and so forth. And at the end of this program, you will get dismissed as long as you don't get arrested, ticketed, cited, summoned, or any issues with the law, none whatsoever, right? Because that's considered in New York an ACD, adjournment contemplating a dismissal. All right. So if that is the case, you're going to be treated as if you're guilty. So there's not enough here, not enough context for me to intellectually respond to this with some accuracy. But in general, if it was outright dismissed without prejudice and it's somehow proven that you did not commit the crime, or there was no evidence, and let's say it was the district attorney decided to decline prosecution because, let's say, there wasn't enough evidence to pin it on you or whatever the case may be, like that proves that you were innocent. So if that's the case, then you should be fine. And usually no waiver required. But again, it really depends on the unique circumstances, the paperwork, the severity, and the documentation. So if you have not already started, you're going to want to go and do the legwork yourself, because recruiters don't like going to courts and all that stuff because it's more time out of the day and it's busy enough processing people that are fully qualified. So when you are in this situation, you are not qualified. You're going to need a waiver most likely, and go down that road. So do yourself a favor, go and get the police report, the final disposition at the records department at the courthouse. And while you're at the courthouse, request the minutes. The curator, whether you are before the judge or not, when your file goes before the judge, again, present or not, your information goes before the judge. The curator is typing up and summarizing or verbatim what is being said during your court case. And that's how we look at the total applicant concept on the particular case in question like this. So we're trying to figure out, did you commit the crime or not? And that's what we're looking for. So you could be charged with whatever. The arrest report could say whatever because it's word of mouth, whatever, whoever's complaining about you. But the disposition in the court minutes will prove otherwise. And that's how we determine those types of things. And again, it really depends on what you were arrested for, what the outcome was, and all that good stuff. But in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. But yeah, it's complicated. Olivia, what is one thing that they will need? For what? I'm not following, unfortunately. Kevin Lim says, can you use the VA loan during AIT? No, you cannot. Your basic training, AIT, OSA experience does not count towards the 90 consecutive days of qualifying federal active duty service to qualify for the VA loan, okay? Give me $5. Age is just a number. Facts. Highwayman says, can you join with sleep apnea? Can you wear a mouth guard to hold your jaw to stop snoring in basic training? I assume CPAP machines would not be allowed. Unfortunately, sleep apnea, and especially requiring a CPAP, like the mouth guard, if it was on your own accord, yeah, but if you legitimately have sleep apnea and you have to use a CPAP machine, unfortunately, that's going to be a permanent disqualifying condition that won't get waived. Unfortunately, sorry to tell you that, be the bearer of bad news, but yeah, it's just one of those things, man. Like, service members get at least 30 to 50% disability for being diagnosed with that when they exit the military for disability. So yeah, it's a big deal in the Army or the military in general, at least when joining. This right here. Can you choose my deployment for Coast Guard? I would definitely bounce that question off of a Coast Guardian and take it from there. I don't know nothing about Coast Guard. Samantha Cox says, have you helped people that have had bariatric surgery to get enlisted? I don't know if you saw my message under your comment under one of my videos earlier today, but this is the response to that. If you meet that criteria, then you could get a waiver. If you do not, then no waiver authorized, unfortunately. But that is the rule currently. And that's actually better than the past, because in the past you couldn't get it at all. So that's still relatively new. Suli DX says, the coffee looking busting though. Hell yeah, man. It's the only way I'm surviving on this stream right now. I'm running on fumes. No lie. I don't even know how I'm so like energetic right now during this live stream. Oh, here we go. We got, is it on the screen? We got Christopher Chaos in the house. not even on the screen yet. Shimon. All right. Yeah, I guess there's a delay on my cell phone. But anyway, okay, good. Christopher Chaos, what's up, my guy? Hope all is well. Looking forward to our future stream together. And yeah, I'm gonna reach out to you and see if we can make that happen sooner rather than later. But I will have a lot more time to myself towards the end of February. But if we can make it happen before that, hell yeah, let's make it happen. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, and those who don't know who Christopher Chaos is, he is another Army content creator on YouTube, killing it right now. Very consistent with everything that he does. It's a lot easier when you don't have kids, but very good channel. Takes a lot of time to create these nice videos. He's former active duty. I forget what his MOS was. Signal support, maybe? I don't recall, but that's what he does on the civilian side as a contractor for the Army right now, or DOD, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. Yeah, so he talks a lot about his experience and insights and opinions about current events and things of that nature and military experience in general. But yeah, very good, informative channel. Definitely go check him out and subscribe. Dollar Bless says, has the Army finally transitioned back to the APFT or still doing ACFT? Listen, Dollar Bless, do not ever talk about the APFT. They shot that down. That dog has already been put down, buried 6 feet under in the back. Like, Old Yeller ain't coming back. All right. Hashtag, I'm just saying, like, the Army's already like issued out millions of dollars for new equipment to adhere to the ACFT. Now there will be changes I foresee within the next 12 months, give or take, but it's here to stay. Okay. Dylan Carlos says, yo, active duty ? For you, ! Can I get airborne in my contract with a medical waiver? My medical waiver would be from a depression anxiety medication I took when I was 14 to 15. I am now 23. Thanks. Honestly, I don't think airborne school has anything to do with your medical history unless you had like some sort of like hemorrhoids or prostate issues, because that's like the biggest thing. Color vision and prostate issues. Depression anxiety medication is not going, in my opinion, going to preclude you from that opportunity. Now, with that said, for context, in my state, as a New York Army National Guard recruiter, we do not have any airborne units in our state, so it is not a contractual option for us to be able to provide to our potential applicants. So with that said, you can always try it. Like if you're going active duty like you are, all right, I tell you what, Dylan, I'll do you a solid. Hit me up on Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ. All right. Or shoot me. I prefer a DM. I will always prefer a DM. But if you need to send me an email because you do not legitimately have Instagram, I got you. But teamswartzmedia@gmail.com. And I will reach out to a couple of my active duty counterparts that I trust and have been extremely valuable in informing me on active duty scenarios. One of which will be joining me on a live stream, Erica Burney. If you don't know her, another awesome, epic. I look up to her a lot. Content creator currently somewhere in California. She was, when I first started following her, she was vlogging her experience as a drill sergeant at Fort Jackson. And she was like something to do with not necessarily public affairs, but she was an influencer for the Army, kind of, sort of speak, for TRADOC, which is like the training environment for basic, OSA, AIT, and all that good stuff. And she's now, her and her spouse have volunteered to become recruiters, and they're both recruiting out of California. So she will be able to join me on live streams to be able to address active duty questions. She's away in school right now. If you follow her on Instagram, Erica Burney, I believe is her name. But I'm talking about, like, I know what her name is, but I think it's Erica Burney on Instagram. But yeah, definitely go check her out. Definitely follow and subscribe. Lots of good stuff there. But yeah. But for medical waivers, just so you're tracking, you definitely want to check out this video. This could be a lifesaver for you. It's my U.S. Army medical waiver guide, insights, best tips and practices and know-hows and all that good stuff. All right. Mario Cifuentes says, I am currently on an 88 mic motor transport MOS. Does the Army National Guard offer any programs to improve the ASVAB scores? Yes, it's called the BSEP course. It's 3 weeks that you could do online on probably a DoD approved device, like a computer, unless they've found a workaround to do it on your personal computer. But with that being said, you do the 3-week course in person or online at the recommendation or permission of your company commander, in most cases, whatever the current criteria is. And at the end of those 3 weeks, you can take the test again at the education office. Now, if you're in the National Guard or Reserve and you're not near a military installation, I would have to do a little bit more digging to figure out how that would work for you. But yeah. Direct message me on Instagram. That's a really good question. Sounds like a new video idea. What do you think? Let me know. Hit me up. Instagram at Team Swartz. I got you. Or teamswartzmedia@gmail.com, and I will look into it. But yeah, the education office on an Army base can have you do the 3-week course and or at the very least retest. And you're only allowed a certain amount of retests throughout your career, so use it sparingly. Maggie Snyder says, how do medical waivers work? I just posted it. I'm going to post it again. Boom. Go check that video out. You're welcome. Oh, hang on a second. I think I had a super chat and I missed it. All right, Giuseppe, I'm going to come back to you because I'm pretty confident I got a super chat. Yep, I did. Darian Holland, thank you so much again for the super chat and supporting the channel, all that good stuff. Again, I appreciate it. I'm sorry I didn't go right to you. I saw it. I just forgot. It slipped my mind. Please forgive me. Don't crucify me. All right, so Darian says or asks, would things older than 10 years appear on my top secret check? Depending on it, yes. For the most part, they'll go back at least 10 years for your moral history. But in my opinion, they go back your entire life when it comes to moral violations, like law violations, stuff like that, credit history and all that good stuff. But yeah, top secret can be pretty intense. And it's a lot more thorough compared to a secret clearance. So if you got stuff in your closet, you might want to clean it out. All right, Giuseppe De Rosa says, hashtag Team Swartz, here to show some support. My brother, that's what I'm talking about. Truly a great resource and has a wealth of knowledge. I appreciate that. I really do. Nova Spitting. I'm going to talk to you. I don't know what Nova stands for. Yeah, I don't even know what Nova stands for. My bad. Your fault. But educate me. All right, so we got Jazine Gibbs says, I got a 46 on the ASVAB. Great score. In fact, I got the same score as you. The same exact score as you on my record. And I'm still here. Got a 46 on the ASVAB. Do you know if I would be able to be recruited full-time? I have been looking at jobs and didn't see many options with my current score. Yes and no. Line scores are weird. I've seen someone score as high as a 54 to a 59 in the ASVAB and not qualify for not one stinking job in the Army and still have to retest. And I've also seen people fail the test all the way down to like a 16 and still have great line scores and still have a lot of great opportunities. Just didn't score high enough on the AFQT portion of the ASVAB. But with that being said, you definitely want to check out this video if you're still here, which I hope you are. But this will break down everything and anything that you want to know and then some. So what I would recommend, Jason A, is that you get a copy of your line scores. GT line score all the way through your ST line score. It's 10 of them all together, okay? But that video will help you with that. Just understand that the walkthrough of the goarmy.com website to figure out the job skills that you pre-qualify for They revamped the website and it's no longer available, but in the description area is an Excel sheet you can open up on your computer on the left-hand side. Click on the box, type in your line score. Do that for each one of the respective line scores. Click if you're a US citizen or not. Anything that remains highlighted may potentially be an option. The video will express everything else. Good luck to you. BXP Talk says hashtag Team Swartz 18 and in high school. I have shoulder injuries. I went to physical therapy for one of them, but didn't finish. No surgeries or anything. You definitely have to finish everything for MEPS to feel comfortable enough to recommend a medical waiver. Like, you could request it as is, but you're definitely going to need an updated evaluation and some sort of testing, maybe an x-ray. And it would be in your best interest if you can get it done by a sports medicine doctor to weigh in on that issue. And again, you're going to want to check out this medical video guide to increase your probability of a favorable outcome. Kenneth Acosta, I got you. Whether you're going from guard to reserve in any branch of the military, or guard to active duty, or reserve to guard, or another reserve branch or active duty, this is the same exact process. However, just so you're aware, you cannot go from full-time regular Army or full-time active duty and get conditionally released with a DD 41368 as you just asked to go reserve or guard. You cannot downgrade from full-time to part-time, but you can upgrade from part-time to full-time. Okay, it could still get denied, but that video will explain everything to you. But yeah, good luck. All right, so Fuesto Salas says, I'm worried about the dental examination at reception. I have one missing tooth due to not brushing and flossing as often as I should during my youth. Will I be disqualified from basic training? No, but if you want to know more about reception, go check out this video. Just ignore the COVID references. But no, if you're only missing one tooth and 30% of your teeth are no more than 30% of your no more than 30% of your teeth are missing or have some sort of defect, you should be fine. Once you go beyond missing more than 30% of your teeth, you're going to need a waiver, and more than likely it's going to get denied. All right, so same one says, I have an RE code 4. How can I waiver it? I can't stand being a civilian anymore, and I have too many critical skills and way too much knowledge of sensitivity, or of sensitive info rather, to function outside of the military. So, all right. An RE4 basically means that you're not allowed to go back to that branch of service. So you're definitely going to need a waiver for the RE4 if you go to another branch of service. I've only done and successfully had enlisted somebody with an RE4 from the Navy and the Marine Corps. And again, that just means that you cannot go, you're banned from that branch of service, but another branch of service can entertain your waiver request and possibly approve it. So it really boils down to the narrative reason for separation and the SBD code, which usually mirrors the narrative reason. All right. So what I would do is I would Google a form, SF180, complete it, request your discharge packet, and get that sent to you as soon as possible. And yeah, so you're gonna need your discharge packet, your prior service records like your DD-214 if you were active duty, your discharge order from the reserve, or your National Guard orders, or your NGB-22, which is equivalent to like the DD-214 of the active duty. But your recruiter will fill you in on all this stuff, but you're definitely gonna need a waiver. And hopefully, hopefully you can get past it. Brown Sausage, do you know about the chaplain candidate program for reserve and guard? I know it exists. I don't know the requirements. I do know that you have to be recommended by your religious official, whoever that is, and be actively practicing your religion and some other things. But yeah, they're high in demand right now. Kevin Lim says, thank you for your response to my questions. Cleared. Outstanding. Jedi says, at the ARC Army Recruiting Command right now. Super excited to begin this journey. What does ARC stand for? Jedi. I'm going to pay attention. Good night, Juliana. I love you. Hey, real quick, Juliana, if you're still here, where did you put my Apple Pencil? And I love you, baby girl. Sweet dreams. Oh, Army Recruiter Course. All right, cool. At Army Recruiter Course now. Super excited to begin this journey. Yeah, I'll put it to you this way. If you're on the Recruiter Times fan page on Facebook, ignore the noise of all the negativity that's out there. You really, truly drive the train on how successful you are. The quicker you can get the training wheels off, hit the ground running, taking care of your soldiers, being honest and forthright, because that's the thing. You have to build rapport with your applicants. Maybe in your bed. All right, baby, I'll go check. And just no matter the pressure that you're under, and this is more so for active duty people, but bye, baby, I love you. Just take care of your applicants and look out for their best interest, and do what's best for them. Learn your product, learn about the Army, learn about the benefits, the features, the ins and outs of recruiting, and learn how to solve problems of your soldiers. It's service after the sale, and that's how you get referrals. You take care of them, you're honest with them, and trust me, referrals is the name of the game. And I actually suggest that you create a YouTube channel like this and you talk about your Army story. You talk about the enlistment process. You talk about basic training, Army life, so on and so forth. There is a question and a concern out there. Just go to goarmy.com or usarmy.com, dive into the comments. You'll find video topic ideas that you could add your 2 cents to. Just make sure that it's fact-based. Like, you can still do opinions and whatnot, and what your 2 cents are on things, but whatever you are addressing must be factual. All right, do your due diligence and research it. But most of my enlistments come from YouTube, and I don't even actively recruit on here. In fact, I don't tell anyone to call me, well, maybe once in a while, but like, I don't actively say, hey, I am a recruiter, call me if you're in the New York City area, blah, blah, blah. I don't do that. I provide value by addressing people's questions and concerns that they may have about the enlistment process, and I come on here to build my tribe, my community, to, you know, spit facts out there so that you can make a well-informed decision. You got to understand that, like, this is a big decision for people, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. And more so for someone who's like going through you to go active duty, like, that's a big and serious decision that they should not take lightly. And that's something that once they ship out to training, is, you know, like, you're in there like swimwear for the next 2 to 4 years of their lives. And there's no, hey, here's my 2-week notice, I want to quit. So figure out and write down all the possible objections that one would have about going active duty, and figure out a solution around those issues that could help your potential applicant feel more comfortable with their decision serving. And half the time, you're just fighting myths about the Army and so on and so forth. Just don't lie or stretch the truth. Be upfront with them and keep it real, and they will respect you for it. But recruiting can be the next best thing since sliced bread. When your numbers are good, well, active duty is different. You're more micromanaged than us in the Guard, but when your numbers are good, nobody bats an eye at you. Nobody questions anything. As long as you're not raping, killing, doing drugs, and doing other illegal activities, you pretty much are in charge of your schedule and do what you need to do, and that's it. Like, the flexibility of being a recruiter is phenomenal, at least in the National Guard. But every active duty counterpart that I know, there is not, like, the flexibility is not like us. Like, AGR in the National Guard as a recruiter, you're stable. If you have a family, you're not moving around every 3 years. And as a recruiter, like, I come and go to work whenever I want, as long as I go to work. Again, numbers drive the train. So if your numbers are good, literally can do whatever you want, right? But numbers drive the train. If your number's not good, then just like regular Army, they're in your box. They're looking at who you're calling, who you're not, who you're texting, how many appointments made, how many appointments conducted, how many practice tests or PICATs are completed, how many testers did you complete, how many people did you throw it down MEPS, and hope and pray that they get through the process, and so on and so forth. What are you doing every day? How long are you doing it? And nitpicking every little thing that you do or don't do or not good enough in their eyes, and so on and so forth. So if you want the monkey off your back, take care of your people. It will take you 6 to 12 months to learn a job and to get, for the most part, somewhat proficient at your job as a recruiter, and take it from there. But yeah, that's the hardest thing, is learning your role as a recruiter and knowing where to find the information within the regulations. You don't need to know it, although that helps, but always verify by looking into the regulation. Don't be afraid to open up the books and find out, because there are a lot of lazy recruiters out there that tell you, oh, don't even bother me, and that's a waiver and that's not going to get approved. No, sometimes it can be waived. And what the waiver department that always comes to us, at least for the last 2 or 3 years that they've been coming out to give us classes, they say, unless it's something like AIDS or HIV that like the common things that we know that is not waiverable, like, don't even bother sending those waivers. But everything else, even though it may say that there's no waiver authorized, full send, right? As long as you get all the appropriate records, and you can get the all clear letters with updated evaluations and testing and so on and so forth, you never know. They could get an approved waiver, so you never know. All right, yeah, work hard, play hard. And one of the things I want to tell you as a recruiter: when you're at home, be at home. When you are at work, be at work. It may not make sense right now, but give yourself 12 to 24 months and you'll know what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. All right. Good luck to you. Absolutely, Jedi. And continue watching my channel, because you're going to learn a lot, especially about the National Guard. But in general, you'll learn a lot, especially like my medical waiver video and stuff. I'm also going to be doing a course in the future about online content creation on YouTube as a recruiter using just your cell phone. So if you're interested in that, be sure to follow me. I got a super chat from somebody. Oh, here it is. To Canando, super sticker. Appreciate the support of the channel. That means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that more than you know. And just to make sure you didn't add a comment after that. All right, so with that being said, if I did not get to your question, your response or question or concern means a lot to me. So do me a favor, hit me up on my Instagram, IG, at Team Swartz right there, or shoot me an email at Team Swartz Media right here, and I'll be more than happy to address you by the end of the weekend, and I'll make it happen for you. So shoot your questions and concerns there, and I'll take you from there. I appreciate y'all coming on here and watching me. If you're new here, hopefully I earned your subscription, and turning on the bell icon so you don't miss anything. And stay blessed, be good. Every day is a good day when you wake up, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Have a good one.